And she starts talking about the little boy in the hall with the puppy. And that's the sign. Like that is, we know that if a patient sees the boy in the hall with the puppy, that they are going to pass. Like it's just known. And so I don't know where the boy came from or the puppy or anything, but yeah, she started talking to me. She's like, why are they letting like puppy dogs and little boys on the unit and things? I'm like, oh no. But yeah, she passed like a few days later. Like it was just every time, and only in that room, nowhere else on the entire unit.
Healthcare horrors. Murder. All right, here we go. Welcome back to another episode of Healthcare Horrors. Just in time for the spooky season. It's October. I'm Ashley. I'm a brand specialist here at Atlas MedStaff. And today I've got another special guest co-hosting the podcast with me. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yep, my name is Donna. I have been a nurse since 2013. I traveled for 10 years, so I've been all over the country.
Nice. What kind of nurse are you?
I do both ICU and ER.
What was your favorite place that you've traveled to?
That is such a difficult question because I've been in amazing places. I loved Arizona. Just gorgeous. So much to do out there. Hot. But I learned to paddleboard. I actually grew an obsession with paddleboarding after being in Arizona. So that I loved that for the outside. I really loved Connecticut and Boston. Both of those two were great places because they're trauma ones, and I love trauma. And they had some wild things that I just didn't see other places. So yeah. I enjoyed that kind of good atmosphere. But the best location I've ever been was I went to St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands, and that was really awesome.
What? Oh my gosh, that's cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
So you've been to a good variety of places for sure.
Yes, I've gone all the way from California to Maine, from North Dakota down to Virgin Islands and Florida. So
yeah,
all the way, each direction.
Do you miss it, or is it kind of nice being in one spot, not changing?
I do miss it. No, I miss it. I love the travel, meeting new people, just going new places, because every place is such a different experience. So I miss that a lot. But I am enjoying right now being home while my daughter's in high school and getting to do all the homecoming and, the fun stuff with her.
Awesome. So in the last podcast, we talked about the Stanley Hotel, and Rich was on that episode. Have you ever been to the Stanley in Estes Park?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh. Definitely go. If you like Colorado and being in the mountains, it's a spectacle to see. It's a really cool, old, beautiful hotel. So
awesome. I'll have to look at it.
And then today we are talking about McPike Mansion, which is located in Alton, Illinois. And I guess Alton is pretty haunted. I've never been.
Yes. One of the absolutely most haunted small cities in America.
Yeah.
It's quite a history.
Yeah. And the reason we're talking about McPike, well, other than it being haunted, is because it's in Illinois and you're in Illinois, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it kind of ties into your ghost stories.
It's very interesting. I'm about 2.5 hours away from Alton, so it's really not that far. And I spent a lot of time there because it's actually a great little city, but it is very well known for being so haunted. And there's so many different books that have been written on it. It's been on, the paranormal TV shows. And there's even a prospect of a movie being made about little old Altons, which I think is pretty cool. But the hospital I worked in down there, this year actually is their 100th anniversary. So it's old. and it's Catholic. So I feel like Catholic ones, just something about them, they just have more of a deep history than other hospitals. I don't know why, but I feel like maybe I watched too many paranormal shows like The Nun, but
that's a good one. That's a good
it's
one.
so good. Yeah. So that it's a cool hospital. I was actually there for a long time. I did maybe 3 contracts, and then I was doing my acute care nurse practitioner, and I did 2 rotations there as well in the ER and ICU. So I was there a long time, got to know a lot of people, see a lot of things. I actually had the lady who owns McPike Mansion as my patient when I was working in the ICU. So I got to talk to her quite a bit.
What? I didn't know that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was cool. So she's a cool lady, super down to earth. I would have known that she had that. I don't know. You would think somebody who owns a haunted mansion would have like the certain look or character to them. Not at all. She was just so normal, but sweetest person, but just owns a haunted mansion.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So my experiences in the hospital, it's known, like it has a history, and I've had the nurses there tell me lots of stories of going, like the things they see, especially nuns. It is like it's the ghostly nuns that they see, and things around there. I never experienced that. Mine was more when I was doing my nurse practitioner rotation for the ICU med-surg areas. It was overnight. So they have an entire floor up top that's closed off, not used at all anymore. It used to be like a labor and delivery, and then they got rid of that altogether because it's just right across from St. Louis. So we just shoot them over there. And it was really hard. We were supposed to be able to go up there to like sleep overnight if nothing's going on, relax or anything. And it was very difficult to do up on the third floor because it was not quiet. It was not like a serene place to go. You just felt like this heaviness, like something's watching you. And you'd hear movements, you'd hear people walking, like doors creaking and things like that. So I honestly tried to stay off the third floor as much as possible, even though I would sit in a chair all night rather than go up there. So that's the third floor. Not necessarily related to the normal hauntings they had there. I did have, we had this really cool experience that is definitely supernatural. It was this lady, she was young. She was in a terrible, terrible car accident, where she ended up with her brain being damaged pretty severely. So she was in the ICU with us for a while. And, one of those cases where you hate to say it, but it was pretty hopeless, it was more just bringing the family around to realizing. But she was married, had a great husband, 2 very, very young kids. I mean, toddlers, just able to walk and talk kind of a thing. So, the night that the husband finally decided to, like, we've done everything we can. We need to let her go, give her peace. It started with, he made that decision and the lights started to flicker in the room, which they never did. That was not something we had an issue with. So the lights were flickering in the room, almost like she was telling him, thank you. Like, this is a good decision. And so, we're doing the end of life care, just kind of making her comfortable and everything. And he's holding her hand and he gets a phone call. And this still gives me chills. Every time I talk about it, it almost makes me tear up because it's like, it just is a show of what's out there. He gets a phone call, and I can't remember if it was his sister or her sister, but one of the aunts was watching the kids at home. And she calls and she said, what's going on over there? And he explains to her, yeah, we've decided this is what we're doing her. We're letting her go. I'm just holding her hand, being with her. And she's like, okay, because both of the kids just came out of their rooms talking about seeing mommy. and then she dies. Like, she just passed away, like, at that time. So it was just like the coolest thing, like she went and saw the kids, and it was just not something you could even make up. It was a phone call. The kids saw it. Like both of them came out of their separate rooms talking about seeing their mom. And then she passes immediately afterwards. So it was a really touching, neat. Yeah. So not scary. This isn't a scary one, but.
No. And like, these don't have to be scary by any means. But yeah, when you said the lights flicker, that gave me goosebumps. But oh my gosh, that, like you said, it just shows, you know, there's something going on. There's something out there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That was really neat.
That would be so hard to go through, but very touching at the same time. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
The first hospital that you were talking about, where you would just like kind of feel a heaviness and hear things. Did anyone else, any of your coworkers, experience anything? Or
oh yeah,
yeah,
definitely. All of the doctors. So that third floor was only for the doctors, nurse practitioners, the providers, and all of them would talk about it. So they warned me. The nurse practitioner I was working with warned me at that time. She's like, if you go up there, just know. Like it is well known for this. She's like, I will still go up there and sleep some nights, because they would work so much. They would do 12-hour shifts for 7 days straight, and sometimes longer. So they would have to sleep sometimes. She's like, but it's rarely a night that goes by that you don't have some kind of experience up there. So it's very well known by all of the providers. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about McPike Mansion, aka Mount Lookout, which I honestly don't know why it was also called Mount Lookout. Do you have any idea why?
Yeah, it's on, at the time at least, it was built on the highest point. So it was looking out over everything.
That makes sense. I knew it was built on a lot of land, but I guess I missed the part where it was kind of more on a hill. That almost sounds like Salem's Lot.
Right.
A spooky house on a hill.
Right.
So the home was built for Henry McPike and his family in 1869. The architect was Lucas Pfeifenberger, however you want to say that. And he designed a lot of commercial buildings, private homes, schools, churches, hospitals. His architecture design style included Italianate, Queen Anne, and Georgian Revival. So if you Google those architect styles, you can definitely see that in the McPike Mansion for sure. I'm a sucker for some cool old, like Gothic architecture.
Yeah.
So
it was supposed to be gorgeous.
Yeah,
back in the
very
day.
Pretty, very symmetrical style homes. Like those houses are always so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pfeifenberger became a permanent resident of Alton, Illinois in 1857, and he did design a handful of buildings in the town. Henry McPike was very involved in his community and politics, as was his father. And it sounds like Abraham Lincoln was actually like a family friend or acquaintance of them. Henry McPike advocated for the abolishment of slavery, and it is believed that he assisted with the Underground Railroad. And then I just had to look this up because I was like, wait, so was McPike Mansion like part of the Underground Railroad? And it wasn't. It was built like right after or several years after the Underground Railroad, but that would have been very interesting for sure.
Right. That would explain a lot.
And then during the Civil War, Henry McPike helped manage the Department of War. And then he also served as a representative of Alton, and he even became the mayor of Alton in 1887 and 1891. Not only was he involved in politics, but he was a horticulturist, which is so random, I feel like.
Yeah, that's like left field.
Yeah. So on the grounds of the mansion, so the mansion was built on 15 acres of land. And on the grounds, he had rare trees, shrubs, flowers, and vineyards. And so he had all these vineyards, which led to him growing the award-winning Pinot Grigio styled McPike grapes.
Nice.
Fancy. Do you like Pinot Grigio?
No, I'm a sweet girl.
Sweeter? All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to have vineyards and a Pinot Grigio award-winning grape, you better have a pretty elaborate wine cellar. And this house definitely had a huge wine cellar that you had to access from the back of the property. It also had 16 rooms, super ornate wooden banisters on the staircases, 11 marble fireplaces, which sounds like that's a lot of fireplaces.
That is a lot.
So in 1910, Henry McPike eventually dies. Well, before that, I guess we can talk about his wife. I think he was married twice. His first wife was named Eleanor, and I'm not sure what she passed away from. And then he also had a daughter, and another like random fact, she was known for whistling. I guess she was in like whistling tournaments, or like she was like a professional whistler. I don't know.
Interesting.
But one of the ghost stories, or one of the things that is often reported, is they will hear whistling in the house.
Okay.
So, and then yes, Henry McPike dies in 1910, and after he passes away, it's not really in the family anymore. So from there, it kind of becomes a few other things. So it's turned into Brown's Business College for a short period of time. And then it eventually becomes a boarding house. So in 1925 to 1936, Paul Lackinger owns the property and he rents out rooms. Paul died in the mid-1900s. So after the home is abandoned, it falls victim to looters who just gut the house and destroy it. They take anything valuable, like all of the copper piping, the ornate wooden banisters. They steal marble from the kitchen countertops and from the fireplaces, graffiti, break out windows. They just completely trash the place. It's so sad.
Yeah.
The gutters give out, so the house just gets even more destroyed by the elements. Water gets in, and to the point where, like, even today, I don't think the owners let people go onto the second floor because of like water damage that they're still trying to restore.
Yep.
All right, June 17th, 1980, the house is listed on the National Register of Historical Places. In 1990, it gets purchased by a St. Louis contractor who wants to flip the house, and I guess he talked a big game that he was going to do it in 2 years, but he ended up not doing anything with it. And it went back on the market. In 1994, it gets bought by Sharon and George Luedke, who bid on the house in an auction. And their vision is to turn the mansion into a bed and breakfast and to host other events there. And they even bought the house next door so that they could live closer to the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the new owners, they never received too much help from the city as far as like grants or anything, which you'd think that the city would want to help fund the restoration because it's on the Registry of Historical Places, but
right. It has such a history, being owned by the mayor and being so beautiful, and like everything that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I remember her, like when we talked about her being shocked that they weren't given like the funds to help restore it and bring it back.
They did get a lot of local support, though, as they slowly started their restoration. So you can visit the house today, and any money that they make from tours just goes into the restoration. Mm-hmm. So what was Sharon like? She was just kind of quiet, and how did you...
Not quiet. Not quiet. I wouldn't say a quiet person. You could definitely see her as somebody who has a bed and breakfast. You know what I mean? Okay. Like the personality type where definitely outgoing, easy to talk to, can just carry a conversation and not a lot of dead space kind of a thing. But she was just so nice. She was just the nicest person. Didn't give off any like weird vibes or anything where, like I said earlier, I don't know, for somebody who owns something haunted, I just assume that they're going to have like a certain demeanor about them, but she, not at all. She was just the sweetest person to take care of, and offered me to come tour and everything. I never got the opportunity to because of going to school and working at the same time, but it was given the opportunity, and I regret not taking it because that would have been awesome.
All right, let's get into some of the hauntings. As far as I know, or as far as I was reading, there's nothing like super dark and demonic in the house. There's been spectators and paranormal investigators that have reported anywhere between 10 to 12 different spirits in the house. It's believed to be haunted by the McPikes, again, the daughter whistling. And I guess Henry has made himself known by actually like stating his name and telling people that he is there.
That's cool.
Yeah. So when Sharon and George Luedke bid on the house, they actually were not aware of any of the hauntings. They didn't really know what they were fully getting themselves into. Sharon was the first one to encounter a spirit in the home after 6 weeks of purchasing it. And it was the spirit of Paul Lackinger, who was one of the previous owners of the boarding house. Mm-hmm. And I guess he did die in the house. And when his spirit is present, you can witness the smell of cigarette smoke. So I guess he was a big smoker. And it just kind of will linger wherever he's at. Some have even reported the sight of cigarette smoke clouds. And then Sharon saw his spirit when she was out in the garden, and she saw him in the window.
Wow.
Yes.
That'll freak you out.
Yeah. The house,
you look in your house like, who's in my window?
Mm-hmm. It's just Paul. It's fine. He's up there smoking a cigarette in the house. Goodness. Even Paul's son's spirit is said to have returned to the house as well to be with his father. So Paul and his son, then you got the McPikes in there.
Yeah. I heard one of the maids as well.
Yeah, servants, okay. I guess, kind of hang out in there too. I don't know if I have any of their names. Oh yeah, Sarah. She was one of the servants, and Sharon, I guess, actually found the name Sarah Wells in the records of the house. So Sarah is believed to still be there. And whenever she is present, people have reported the aroma of lilacs. And it sounds like
her perfume or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like lilac bushes smell so good.
Oh, they do. I love them.
And I guess Sharon said that Sarah actually hugged her one day. So Sarah's a very nice ghost.
Aw.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you're going to have your house haunted, she's got the right people.
Yeah. It's people... It's like the Stanley where, at least I believe, the ghosts are there because they want to be there. They didn't have a negative experience there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's not really believe that anything super dark and demonic is there, except for when the ghost adventure guys were there, and I guess they reported that there was a demon in the house. I don't know if you've ever watched Ghost Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Have you?
Yeah,
with Zach? It's not my favorite paranormal investigating show because they kind of over-exaggerate the truth a little bit, and I think they're just, I don't know, stretching the truth a little bit.
Yeah, to make it more dramatic for views, I think, which,
yeah,
like, it's such a contradiction from everyone else's experience with this house.
Yeah, definitely. Like, when you like see a ghost and then you start running towards it, like, what are you planning on doing? Like, you were gonna chase the ghost and then what? I don't know. I know. But I digress. But yeah, Ghost Adventures was at the house. Sharon was not a fan of them being there. She said they were disrespectful, did a lot of their yelling at the ghosts, exaggerated the truth. But one thing that they did report that other people have witnessed is the sound of horses on like cobblestones.
Okay.
Did you find that too?
I had not heard about that with the mansion in specific, but in the town, I'd heard that like there's like ghost buggies and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, other people that live in the area have reported hearing the sound of horses walking around, and there were actually other paranormal investigators who had no relation to the Ghost Adventure guys. They didn't hear anything about their encounters. But these paranormal investigators were more respectful, and they did hear the sound of horses on cobblestones and maybe like pulling wagons and buggies. Mm-hmm. So that's always kind of cool when you have a story and then you hear someone completely different tell the same story, and it's like, okay.
Right. Yeah.
There's gotta be something here. Another interesting thing about the house that I was reading about was there's reports of multiple portals to other dimensions around the house.
Oh.
And I want more information on that because it's been like mentioned here and there in other articles or like on the website. But I'm like, I just, how do you know there's a portal here? And
right.
I don't know.
I feel like in order to verify that, somebody needs to be like shot off and then brought back. Like,
right.
Disappear randomly and then come back. I don't know how else you would verify a portal.
Yeah. And it's not just one portal, it's like multiple portals in the house. No. But that would be kind of cool to have more information on.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there's many reports of voices, specifically of Henry, whistling through the house, sounds of a child or a baby crying, which there is a small crypt in the back of the house, which could be the burial site of an 18-month-old. I don't know if it was McPike's son or daughter that was an 18-month-old. I'm not really sure who the child belonged to. But over the years, it sounds like Sharon has grown very protective of the home and her spirits. So she's definitely not afraid to be there. If anything, she's there to protect them.
Yeah, which is awesome, I think.
Yeah, definitely. She's very proud of her home. You can visit McPike for ghost tours and small events. However, it sounds like the Luedkes still have a very long way to go with their renovations. If you do go there for a tour, it sounds like they don't let you inside the mansion at all due to safety concerns. I was like reading TripAdvisor reviews, and some of the reviews were nice. They were like, it was a pleasure to just be there and learn about the history and at least be on the outside of the home and knowing that they're helping to fund the renovations. But then some people were kind of negative, like we couldn't even go inside, and it was,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I could see that. Like you're expecting to go on a haunted house tour and then you
Yeah.
don't get to tour.
Which that would be a bummer, but
For sure.
Even when paranormal investigators go there, they are asked to specifically stay on the first floor. They're asked to not go to the second floor due to water damage and stuff. They are taken into the wine cellar, though, since that's through a separate entrance. So you can at least go in there and you can see the crypts that are in the backyard. Investigators tend to get a lot of activity when they're in the wine cellar due to the amount of limestone and quartz that was used to build the tunnels.
Okay.
There's a boiler room also down in the wine cellar, and one of the investigators was talking about how they were getting certain readings by the boiler where they could like make out figures, and it looked like they were working on the boiler.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Is there anything that you found that I left out?
Not really. That sounds like a lot of what I heard while I was there, and people who had been is a lot of what people experienced is like when you're taking a picture and then you get it developed. You're seeing things that you didn't see when you took the picture, kind of a thing. So it's such a long history for Alton. Like even before they settled it, it had like a history, and then for some reason they decided to settle there anyway. But it just has a terrible past. You know, like you said, with the Underground Railroad, the Civil War, and then they had the insane asylum there, and that had all its atrocities while it was there. And then it was closed down and turned into a prison for the soldiers from the other side. And, you know, that was just terrible. Like, and so many of them died and languished. And then, and eventually that was obviously shut down. But like some of that is still up. Like there's pieces. I don't know if you saw that in your research of Alton, but there's still like parts of walls that are still up in the middle of the town where there's tons of accounts that go back to the 1800s of people where you can walk by and hear like wailing and crying and people being miserable just walking by that area. And then people, like I said, they see the horse and buggies, and then they'll see the ghost boats because it's right on the river. And that has like, I don't know if you saw this, but the worst maritime tragedy ever was there. Like it was worse than the Titanic. More people died on this specific one than did on the Titanic.
What?
So it was an awful, like there was a lot of pirating and stuff, but like the real bad one was where for some reason the boat just like exploded, caught fire, and it was over 1,800 people died on that one. Like it was a huge death. And then a few years later, another boat just completely disappeared with all the people on it. And if you look, that is one of like the big mysteries that is still like the biggest maritime mystery that still exists. Like, and this is all in Alton. Like Alton has like some crazy history. But then they also have where it used to be a little island right off the shore there in the middle of the river where they buried all the soldiers when they died in the prison, because there was like a huge smallpox outbreak and tons of people died from that. Like I don't know why anybody would move to Alton. Like, it really is a great town, but it has the worst history. Like back then you would think like just abandon ship here because everything that goes wrong can go wrong here. But they've like this island was just used to bury bodies like outside of coffins, like nothing. And somebody went over there once to like take some pictures because So a storm had washed away part of the island, just like a little bit of the shore. And so then bones were coming out. So they had gone, a journalist had gone, and it was like he did some digging and he got all the way down to where it was like more than halfway up his legs, just in bones, like just stacked on top of each other on this island. So it's just, they have a wild history and stuff happens. Like that's the reason it's such a haunted town, is it's just, there's so much death in this town and misery that it's crazy.
Goodness.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely had a lot to choose from when I just kind of Googled haunted places in Illinois. And of course, McPike was the first one. And then you were like, we can do McPike Mansion. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And you said you knew someone who visited McPike, right?
Yes, so I have a friend. I actually worked with her at a completely different hospital. But her and some other friends started like a paranormal tour group. And so randomly throughout the year, they'll just post and like take people on in different places. And I know they went there once, and I remember seeing it on her story. But yeah, that was one of the, I think they did more than one place in Alton though, because it's, just a little tour. So then they go to the other places as well.
Yeah, I feel like if you visit Alton, you do definitely need to make like just a weekend tour of the town and like just do all of the spooky, kitschy tours and just learn all about it.
Yeah, it'd be an awesome place to go in October, like over Halloween, because they've been doing like, since like the early 1900s. They have the same Halloween parade on Halloween night that they've done every year since the early 1900s. Like it is a big deal. Halloween down there.
Oh, well, speaking of Halloween, do you have any like fun Halloween traditions or do anything fun on Halloween?
Nothing too crazy. I'm huge on decorating. So I have been in a fight with my family since the beginning of September about putting up decorations. Because I'm ready to do some decorating. But yeah, on like the first day of fall, I'm like, that's it. Yeah. If you ever want to know more about other hospitals I've been to, I have other stories. But yeah,
other spooky stories or just some stories.
Good stories. Yeah.
I mean, if you have time, go for it. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. There's one I went to. I had two different things happen here. And this one, it was so this hospital, I was on a cardiac unit for this one, and it had a room that was so well known, like for its paranormal activity, that when they redid the floor, they got rid of the room completely because it was just that well known about its things. But my experience with it was I was taking care of a lady who had open heart surgery, which usually it sounds terrible, but it's actually pretty easy to recover from open heart. But unfortunately, she got an infection in her sternum, and that turned into, we had to completely remove her sternum. And so she was left with her chest open and nothing in between. So letting the infection clear. And so a couple times a day, we were packing it, cleaning it, removing it. And it was really cool because, I mean, you take this packing out, you're looking right at our heart and lungs. So it was actually really awesome. It was one of my first experiences with a really cool wound. So she was super nice. Like, she used to be a nurse. I think she was a nurse at the hospital. So like, really awesome lady, doing better. We're like, she's going places. We're going to get her out of here, maybe get her sewn back up, whatever they need to do. Until one day I go in there and I'm talking to her, and she starts talking about the little boy in the hall with the puppy. And that's the sign. Like, we know that if a patient sees the boy in the hall with the puppy, that they are going to pass. Like, it's just known. And so I don't know where the boy came from or the puppy or anything, but yeah, she started talking to me. She's like, why are they letting like puppy dogs and little boys on the unit and things? I'm like, oh no, It was around Christmas time, so I kind of prepared her family as much as I could. But yeah, she passed like a few days later. Like, it was just every time, and only in that room, nowhere else on the entire unit.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Dr. Sleep. Have you seen the movie Dr. Sleep?
Yes.
When Danny is working in the old people's home, and the cat, it's a real cat, not a ghost cat, but whenever the cat goes and sits on someone's bed, that's the telltale sign that person's gonna pass away.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was exactly like that. It was exactly like that. So it was, they just completely got rid of that room. I don't know if their thought was like, maybe people will die less if they can't see the little boy and the dog, or what it is. But yeah, it was pretty well known. But then at the same hospital, I was taking care of a guy. And one night I walked in his room and it was dark, and he was freaking out. Just completely freaking out of nowhere. And I'm like, what is going on? He's like screaming, you have to turn the light on. You have to turn the light on. So I'm turning the lights on. And he's like, every single time you turn the light off and leave the room, there's a man hanging on the wall, like from a noose. He's like, and I'm looking around the room, like looking for where light would be coming from to create a shadow. And what in the room could possibly like create a shadow of a man on a noose, like just hanging. And there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. It was just a bare room other than the medical equipment and things. And it was like across, so not near the medical equipment. And so I'm in the room with him, and I'm like turning the lights off, trying to see if I could see it myself. Nothing. Like, I couldn't see it. But if I left the room, immediately he would start screaming. So the whole time he was there, it was lights on for this poor old guy. So I don't know. I still don't know. He didn't die, thank God. That's one of the good stories.
My God. Yeah.
That room gave me creeps for the longest time. Like, I would get chills just walking in there, like thinking about, I didn't like it.
Put the poor guy in a different room.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know. Everyone has different views of afterlife and supernatural and what is and isn't. But I feel like if you have truly worked in a hospital and spent time in a hospital, because there is so much, like there's so much that we see. I've been at hospitals. There was one I was at couple years ago, and I was on like the code team. So anytime there was a code in the whole hospital, that was my responsibility in this big trauma one. And we would, from time to time, get codes getting called from a closet. And so we'd go running to a closet on like a floor, and there'd be no phone. There'd be no people. Like, there'd be no way for there to be a code called from that room. It was just, I mean, there just is. There's some sort of supernatural, and I don't know what it is. But if you work in a hospital, you have to know.
How bizarre. You have so many stories. Like,
so many. But I've been to like so many hospitals where there was one up north where just people refused to go in the basement, because if you go in the basement, you would get chased down the hallway. Like, I had multiple people tell me how they would get chased down the hallway. I'm like, I'll never find out, because that's not for me.
Nope. Terrifying. All right. So in the next podcast, we are going to talk about a spooky hospital, and that is the U.S. Army Post Hospital. Jessica Weiss, also a recruiter, is going to be talking about that one with me. So
that'll be a good one.
Let's just wrap it up. I'm always so bad at ending podcasts.
Done. Yeah.
Okay. All of you nurses have spooky stories, and I want to hear them. Come on.
Yeah.